constructed the city. Use the grid and multi-select to paint this ground dark grey. This will give it a used concrete look. Multi-select make this pretty quick. Okay, now as you see I have skipped the tedious parts of placing every single line on the grid. Instead what you see is the outline before building the city. The wall is obvious on the outskirts which has been selected in particular which has been built in particular like a moat. Second layer visible inside is the fences. I wanted to roughly imitate the pathway pattern from the real map. So I made an outline and left some parts for the road which have been colored in yellow. Strange, but it makes a good reference. I have already placed some buildings which serve as the checkposts for this fictional setting. In the real life Kowloon city, this was a completely lawless neighborhood with the authorities rarely entering the depths of that city. Here's a fish market as well, and the only outer access that the residents of this fictional city have. Only guards have direct access to the greater city outside. So to add some more elements, I've placed a patrolling dock as well. This is the overview with the roads built on the outside of the wall, and to exaggerate the setting, let's just keep some large trash compactors outside the city. So it leaves not much for the residents to escape, as they have to swim across the sea to reach the other shore. Here's the entry gate to the town. Most of the pack design has been made, and what you see is just the overview of it. So now it should bring one natural question to your mind. How does living in a packed space impact your life? How do you interact and aspire in such a setting? Can you dream of leaving such a setting and truly reach out for a higher cause for yourself? Let's take a look at the Kowloon Walled city from a sociological standpoint. In real life, Kowloon is a region in Hong Kong. The walled city existed sometime from 1898 to 1994. But what was the purpose of this society or city? And what can we see or learn from this historic example of suburban overcrowding? Now, for the little details, each apartment in this city used to be jam packed, side by side. At its peak, an estimated 50,000 people lived in Kowloon Walled city, confined to an area covering 1/100th of a square mile. That's something less than 0.026 square kilometer. That made Kowloon city the most densely populated city on earth, with the equivalent of 1.9 million residents per square kilometer, compared to Hong Kong's overall density of just 6,700 residents per square kilometer. Obviously, this residential life, used to be stressful, as you can see these shabby apartments. Construction in the city went unregulated, and most of the roughly 350 buildings were built with poor foundations and few or no utilities. Because apartments were so small, a typical unit was 23 meters square, approximately 250 square feet. Space was maximized with wider upper floors, caged balconies, and rooftop additions. How did this affect human psychology? In the absence of healthy spaces, the lifestyle becomes a rush for survival. Perception and thinking becomes narrow. There is a sequence to this problem, and it permeates throughout every society and every culture all over the world. It starts and ends with scarcity. When basic human needs are pushed to the extreme of scarcity, any individual can be coerced to do anything for survival. So people stop thinking. Thinking logically goes for a toss. There is a high centralization and control over what they watch, eat, think, and so a small group of people can easily have complete control over it. Because you cannot think, defending the status quo becomes a priority and the only reality. General perception also becomes heavily attached to their surroundings, but there is a disregard for well being and the natural world. So, how can such a problem be solved? By having open spaces and considering nature in urban design is an important factor for high standard of living. Access to open spaces and natural resources is culturally and psychologically essential for humans. Other stuff that made this city famous was the manufactured units of noodles. Rooftops used to be hangouts. After demolition in 1994, this whole place was converted into a park, and here's the entrance gate. And all other literature references that you may be interested in have been pinned in the comment below. So feel free to check those out if you're interested in reading more about this piece of history.